One of my most asked questions is, Hi Toche, how do I draft patterns for my bag? Hello everyone, my name is Uche of Toche and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be showing you how I drafted a pattern to make a box tote bag that can fit a 13 to 14-inch laptop. And I'm a terrible artist, so I just do a rough sketch. But this is the inspiration. This was the picture I saw online, and I said I'm going to make my own pattern and make it my own. So I feel in every craft you do not be a copy and paste kind of person. Get inspiration and make the design yours. So in my own case, I'm using a circular handle, but I'm going to be making it ruffled. So I am just writing out the specifications of what I want on the bag. I want this bag to be large enough to fit a 13 to 14-inch laptop. I want it to have like a scrunchy, ruffled type of handle. I also want to have a magnetic flap. I don't want a zipper at the top of the bag. I want a flap that just closes it. And later on, towards the end, I decided to add a fringe. Believe me, this process, I wasn't thinking about fringe. So my measurement is 14.5 by 12 inches, and the side is 5 inches. Now, a 13-inch laptop is about 13 inches by the width is about 9 point something to 10 inches. So I just added a couple of inches to it. So instead of the exact measurement of my laptop, I just added about 1.5 to 2 inches on all sides. So I hope that explains pattern creation, like how to come up with the dimension. Remember, you can always watch this video as many times as possible if there is any step you do not understand, and you can ask questions and I'll be there to answer. All right, so now I'm drafting my pattern. This is called a fiber or a carry board, and I use the L-shaped ruler to get a straight line. I just need to be sure that my lines are very, very straight. So my measurement is the length is 14.5. So I'm just measuring 14.5. One thing I always say is make sure you mark out in more than one place so you have like a line to draw and follow. So 14.5, measured the 5, measured another 14.5. My width is, I think it was 12 inches. So you're just going to connect all the lines together, and there you have it. You have your main structure for the bag. I know this is the part where I say it is that easy, but sincerely, it is not that easy. But practice makes perfect. It is very easy once you understand the fundamentals of bag making and pattern creation. So this is the pattern of my bag. I'm just going to fold down on those lines so you see the shape that the bag takes. And that's just the first step, creating the pattern for the bag. This is my main body of the bag. I still need to work on the side, the flap, and some other things. Now, for the side of your bag, the rule, like the rule of thumb, basically, is the length of your front by the width of your side. That's how you get the dimension for your side of bag. Now, in this case, the length of our bag is 14.5 inches. So I'm just going to write out 14.5. And the width of my side is 5 inches. So that's the rule of thumb for like this design of bag. So now I'm going to draft it out on my board, which is my pattern in this case. My L-shaped ruler as usual, so I can get a straight line to work with. Now, apologies, I didn't know this wasn't clear until I was editing it, but it's basically this is a rough sketch of what the site should look like, and I'm going to show you how I get it. Now, the rectangular boxes at the end or square boxes can be any dimension you want. That is the part you fold in when you're doing your site. Don't worry, keep watching, you would see it. So in this case, I'm using 0.5 inches, which is half an inch. So, and the normal length is 14.5. So I get a total length of 15 and a total width of 6 inches because of the zero point 0.5 inches that I added to those corners. Watch it again and you would understand. If you're not clear, please ask in the comment section and I'll be sure to answer. So here I am measuring out the 15 inches by the 6 inch. So I'm just going to measure it out. I'm not speeding past this one so that way I can explain more. I know the actual width is 14.5 by 5, but we are now measuring 15 by 6. And while I'm doing this, you're going to understand more. So I've drawn that line there to connect. I'm going to draw the second line here to connect as well. And now we're going to go down and do the zero point 0.5 adjustment on all sides, which is half an inch. So I'm going to measure 0.5 inches upward, zero point 0.5 upward, Make sure you double check and triple check to be sure your lines are straight and correct. Any mistake in your dimension would affect the overall outlook of your bag. Now, for this other one, I'm just going to measure in more than one place, so I'm sure I am drawing a perfectly straight line. Don't worry, you're not drawing all the way up there. It's just a guide, so your line can be extremely straight. So see that it's just a guide. I just ruled up to that particular point, draw it up, and do the other side as well. Don't worry, I'm working on an online class with a more detailed um, outline and concept on how to draft your own pattern. Now, my pattern is all ready. Now, in some cases, some people use this board to make their bag. And if you use fiber or carry board to make your bag, the next step is not compulsory. You don't have to do the next step. But I don't use this to make my bag. I use a form of leather. It's called bouncing leather. If you go to the market, that is what I use in making my bag. Now, if I'm using a leather piece to make my bag, it's lightweight, it doesn't have structure. So that is where the carry board comes into play. I use it to provide structure for my bag. So now I am drafting out the pattern for my structure piece. And on a different note, I actually have slots for two interns in my workshop. Location is Ogudu, Lagos. If you're interested, send a mail to asktoche@gmail.com or to my WhatsApp number. I'm going to drop all the details in the description box. So I'm just going to cut this out and we're still going to make some adjustments to it. So keep watching. So this is our structure piece, right? So basically what happens is we put it on the bag like that. But this is still too big. It's supposed to be slightly smaller than the bag. So you're not seeing it at the edge and it doesn't um, add extra thickness to your bag when you're sewing it. So I'm just going to do that. Just mark out, just reduce it. So basically, what I'm doing is just to make sure that I have perfectly straight line. You can remove, just remove 1 inch from both sides for the body. And then for the base, you can remove 0.5 inches from the length and maybe 2 inches from the width. Just make it slightly smaller and make sure that when you place it back on your pattern, it sits well. It's not too big, neither is it too small. And when I'm done cutting this, you're going to see what it looks like on the bag. So I just removed 1 inch from one part and 2 inches on one part. And I like to label all my pattern pieces in case I'm not the one prepping for the bag. So the person sees it and understands it. That's the way I teach my staffs. So I'm still going to do the same thing again for the base. Are you just seeing just that small width is what I want to remove. Just remove teeny tiny from the edge so that it sits well. What I mean is when you put the base, you should be able to see those lines when you place it back on the pattern piece. So I'm just going to draw, connect all the lines and cut out all the extra pieces to produce my structure piece. So you trim them all out. Now the next thing I'm going to do is mark out the points I'm going to fix my bag bottoms. Bag bottoms are what you see at the bottom of your bag, which helps to provide beauty to your bag and just create a kind of support so your main bag isn't sitting on the floor. There are no fixed dimension. In my own case, I'm just using 1 inch the other way, 1 inch on all sides. That's what I'm measuring. So 1 inch inwards, 1 inch outwards. Everything has to be the same dimension. So I'm just marking it out and I'm just marking it. And after that, I am going to use my punch, hammer, and a punch pad to create the hole. I have a whole container of punch that I really do not use because one of the errors I made as a beginning bag maker was to buy the full set when all I needed was the small one and the 14 mm. But anyways, this is a small size. This is about the three. I think this is 3 millimeters. Yeah. So that's my hammer. Don't laugh at my hammer. See, I have full hammer. I just have this strange attachment to this one, and it's lightweight. It's easier for me to use. So I'm just gonna punch all those holes. Now, the main essence of pattern creation and creating patterns for all your bags is so that you do not go through all of this process when you're about to make the bag again. Okay, so next up, we're going to work on the flap. That's the end of part one. Part two, I'm going to show you how to work on the flap.